Gracious friends of light, I speak to you this evening with a smile of joy as I behold in your heart a mirrored and calm pool of divine radiance there. This pool of light substance was intended by God to manifest the image of His own perfection. As you raise your consciousness to Him and pour out your adoration and love to your God presence, this image of God comes into greater crystallization and manifestation in the world of form. It is a great joy tonight for me to come and speak to you, many of whom have not had that privilege which you esteem so highly of hearing my voice. I want to enfold you tonight in the radiance of God. I want to enfold you tonight in the arms of love from our hearts here in Darjeeling, who are rendering a cosmic service to the will of God, because our way is the way of the Most High. Beloved ones, have you ever stopped for a moment to ponder upon the idea that mankind often do not choose a way at all, but are simply buffeted by the waves of circumstance? Those who have elected to follow the credo of the Brotherhood here at Darjeeling, which is, I will, revere the will of God as supreme, not only in our personal lives, but recognizing that will as ruling supreme everywhere I am. How can it be otherwise, seeing that life and light and love are God in manifestation? God is perfect. God is truth. How then can it be possible that anything can have any real existence except it manifest His truth? The mirages of the desert, the illusions of life, have held men too long in a grip like unto a vice. Saints and sages throughout the earth have maintained vigil in their personal worlds and sought to find through attunement with God escape from the illusions and mirages of life. The Brotherhood has ever rendered their cosmic assistance, and their activities are forthright, pure, clean, true, and good. We have actually struck a blow in the name of the Lord oftentimes, and we have fought a good fight, and we have kept the faith, as beloved Hilarion so often declared as St. Paul. You too, as soldiers of God's sacred army, are able to march forth as soldiers of light and light's victory, and you too shall win in due time if you will not faint or pay attention to the vicissitudes of life or the buffeting of the waves and the storms thereof. You are actually my children the moment you come to revere the will of God. To be the Chohan of the first ray is a privilege, because it gives me the opportunity of actually enfolding all who love God's will in my arms. Somehow I think I shall take you into my ascended master heart this night and tell you that every ascended master, the moment they begin to feel the great vibrations and pulsations of their own God presence completely enclosing and enfolding them, begins to feel nothing but the kinship of life everywhere. It is then impossible for them to longer consider mankind from the standpoint of imperfection. And we hold men everywhere in an immaculate concept of God perfection. This sometimes creates understandably confusing situations to mankind, who often say, do not the ascended masters know the state of this one's mind? Do not the ascended masters know how this individual has behaved or acted or conducted themselves? How can they then permit such a thing to be? Beloved ones, It may help you if you try to realize that our vision of you is an immaculate one. It is true that in the guidance of Chelas, when certain circumstances warrant, we are able to descend and observe in sacred manner the actual progress of the individual. And then through the Holy Christ self, we are able to see those things and conditions which you would deem imperfection. And thus, in divine wisdom, we are able to render our cosmic service. But our hope, beloved ones, is when you shall attain to such perfection as is in your God presence, that you shall no longer even need our guidance, but shall rather enter the full circle of our love. Holding our hands in cosmic victory is our aim, and I would never have you unmindful of that. So oftentimes mankind in the outer world of thought, feeling, and form are prone, and notice that I use the word prone because that is actually what they are doing. They are reclining in human consciousness, and it is there that they are prone to think of themselves as an earthly clod. I would ennoble you. I would raise you. I would exalt you into that status which beloved Mother Mary held in her immaculate consciousness when she spoke the glorious words of the Magnificat. My soul will rejoice in God my Savior, for he has cast down the mighty from their seat and exalted them of low degree. Beloved ones, to be exalted of God, to be lifted up into the arms of your own God presence is the will of God. It is not always the will of man. Man vacillates between vanity and vanity. God exalteth his own creation to that divine destiny and beauty for which he created all life. Mankind, I tell you, were never created to actually vibrate to the consciousness of discord and pain. We have declared these truths from time immemorial, and before us other Chauhans of the rays uttered these truths. Why then do we continue to speak? Because, beloved ones, you need our guidance until you are able to do for yourselves that which we presently can do for you. And I tell you, it is a joy to do it. Present with me on this platform is a being of such great love, such great and magnificent heart, that I find it difficult to even pay any form of eulogy to him. I speak and I refer to my own beloved brother, Saint Germain. Saint Germain tonight stands with me shoulder to shoulder in a cosmic action calculated to produce in this world the beauty of the coming age, the age of God perfectionment and enlightenment. Do you think when the king or Chauhan of this 2,000-year reign stands in your midst, it is not a cause for you to rejoice? People of New York and its environs, and people of America and other parts of the world, is this not an occasion when you ought to be stirred to the very roots of your being? Think, people. Saint Germain, a cosmic being standing upon this earthly platform with me. Thank you, beloved ones, for your courtesy to our great and magnificent Saint Germain. Won't you please be seated? Saint Germain this evening came with me because the two of us, whom you consider gentlemen of heaven, have brought with us a third gentleman of heaven, one who only a few years ago moved among you and knew many of you personally and spoke to you and held your hand. He is with me tonight, and with us for a cosmic reason. And I introduce to you one who, to those who knew him well, needs no introduction. I introduce to you tonight my own beloved, ascended Master, friend of light, my own beloved and esteemed colleague in the realm of light's majesty, your friend and mine, beloved ascended Master Godfrey. Precious hearts of New York, I greet you with joy and the eternal joy of God. It is so true that only a few years ago, I too occupied the platform in various parts of America and the world and brought the radiation and the words of the ascended host to mankind. Today I esteem it a privilege to once again be here with you, that you may feel and know that life is eternal and beautiful. To be free in God and to have a manifestation of his eternal light pouring through every atom of your being every moment of the 24 hours is an unparalleled experience which, until you yourselves experience, you cannot know. Won't you please be seated? Many of you have followed the light of God through the years. Your beating hearts have pulsated with an unusual quickening vibration whenever the name the ascended masters was mentioned. I can well understand this from my own experiences in the glorious Tetons and upon Mount Shasta, for I too felt a quickening of the vibratory action of my body when I moved among you, and I was able to feel the pulsations of the great love of God, which love is now a realization of every fiber of my being. How can I tell you, beloved hearts, the difference to be encased in a form of flesh and a mold of human consciousness and then to be free from it in the glory of the ascension? I am sure a quickening of your imagination can help you to realize somewhat how I feel today. It is not an easy thing to convey in worded expression the feeling of the heart, but I feel that there are those among you who will cognize and recognize and remember the basic simplicity which I uttered when I moved among you in physical form. I would like to say a word to the mothers that are here, and I do not choose to exclude the fathers. I want to tell you, mothers of America and of New York and elsewhere, that I know that as you have watched your children's footsteps and have watched their growings up and their moving forward in life, you have sometimes wondered at the mystery of life. You have sometimes made the remark, I do not seem capable of fulfilling my destiny or guiding these children in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. I want to say to you, beloved mothers and fathers of America and the world, if you would only turn your children over to your own God presence I am, and would recognize that the I am presence is the actual power and father and mother for every child, and if you would grasp in your conscious recognition and acceptance thereof that the presence has the power through your hands and consciousness to be a divine protector of that life stream, then I think and I know that a manifestation would occur through that life stream which would draw forth and evoke therein a Christ-like image of God perfection. Like Mother Mary, you must hold the immaculate concept for your children. This is not merely a sound, a word, or an expression, but an actuality. When irritation and petulance sometimes tries to ride in your consciousness, and the pressures of the day seem almost overpowering, if you will only think right there at that moment when irritation would bid you to speak or utter a word of condemnation or criticism or judgment, and you would say to that child in love, either silently or outspokenly, God loves you. I think it would make a difference. Perhaps such a simple statement may at first seem trite. God loves you. But I ask you, in later years, when that child grows to manhood or womanhood, and that child remembers those words uttered through its parents' lips, God loves you, if it will not help to develop a consciousness of God. And if you develop a consciousness of God, how can it help but produce attunement with the mighty I Am Presence? And if attunement with the mighty I Am Presence is made and sustained, how can it help but assist that child into a pathway of light and to the glorious goal of its own ascension? Now, beloved ones, so many of you have cried out and uttered your decrees both night and day for the stability of the divine activity. You rejoice so much in unveiled mysteries. You rejoiced in the magic presence. You gloried in St. Germain's discourses in the 3rd volume of the series. You have reveled in the magnificent discourses in the many books and the voices of the I Am. Some of you have actually pursued this course on to other endeavors since then, all bearing the name I Am. And you have looked to God, your own mighty I Am Presence, for guidance, and this is right and so. Beloved ones, now that I am free in the ascended Master estate, I can think of no greater gift to give to you than this, that your own I Am Presence is the only presence that acts everywhere. You must realize that. You must not accept human consciousness. You must not accept the domination of the human. There is a cosmic light action going on here this evening. St. Germain and Moria, together with others of the ascended host and myself, are pouring forth and pouring through you a consciousness of the cosmic light. What is an action of the cosmic light? I believe that most of you ladies and gentlemen understand physical light. You understand there is a great difference between a kerosene lamp and the illumination which you presently use. There is an equal difference between human light, human intellect, human thought, and the action of the cosmic light. The cosmic light is all victorious. Never at any time is the cosmic light subjected to the play of any condition or state of consciousness which is less than itself. It is all victorious and eternal. It can never be requalified by the human. It is divine. It produces a feeling of God perfection and peace. Jesus used this consciousness when he spoke to the waves and said, "Peace, be still." And the obedience of the waves was an action of the cosmic light in physical manifestation. Tonight, I am saying to you in God's name, the cosmic light shall bring victory to this age. The cosmic light shall produce the perfection in your physical forms, in your mental bodies, the healing of the etheric record, and the God perfection and obedience for which you have called. I have observed countless times while individuals present here and elsewhere throughout this planet have struggled over this or that binding habit which is seized upon their consciousness and which seemed to have dominion there so that they could not and were unable to shake that condition from their world. And I have determined by God's determination and God obedience that that condition shall be overcome for any individual who will make the call to the ascended host determinedly 3 times a day without fail, and shall rest securely and serenely in the arms of their own God presence and the cosmic light and the action of that light. Beloved ones, if you will only accept the pressure of my love, you will find within you a power rising to overcome all imperfection or binding habits which may have seized upon your consciousness, until you shall be able to overcome invincibly by the same manner others of us of the ascended host have overcame through the years that are past. Oh, beloved ones, if I could tell you of our communion, if I could give to you a vision of being able to sit around the table with beloved Moriel face to face, with Saint Germain, with the Mahachohan, with the angels and devas of the sacred fire, with Paul the Venetian, with the hierarchy of heaven, I tell you it would melt your hearts until you would no longer desire to have something less than God perfection. I know the pull of the senses. I know them well. How many of you know that at one time I was almost poverty-stricken while embodied among you? How many of you know the limitation and the despair which I faced? How many of you know the viciousness that was directed at me when I was yet unascended? I have no scars on my etheric body. I have long ago offered all that to the violet fire of love and forgiveness. There is no one upon this earth, embodied or disembodied, anywhere in the universe, that can say that there is a feeling that I hold against them. Long ago have I cleansed my consciousness in divine forgiveness for all that has ever been done against me. I say this tonight not because I need this knowledge, but I say it because you need this knowledge. You who know the law so well and are mentally able, my beloved sisters and brothers of the cosmic light, beware of the subtleness and the deceit of the human, who often invades the human mind and consciousness and attempts to tell you that a thing is so when it is not. The cosmic light and the light of God is without any other motivation than beneficence. God would only bring joy to men, joy to the world. The very keynote of beloved Jesus is an actuality. So often Jesus used to come into our home and actually hold our hands together with Saint Germain. Some of you feel that because you have not had those experiences as we did, that perhaps you are not quite so fortunate. Beloved ones, there is no action of the cosmic law that does not come about because of divine justice and because of the law itself. We are grateful and ever have been for the privileges that God has given to us. We are not unique. Even the ascended masters, the self-same perfectionment which we manifest now is your own God-given privilege, and I dearly hope that each and every one of you shall speedily enter into it in accordance with God's good time for you. Some of you have asked this question of me in your consciousness. You have desired to know what pathway you shall pursue. My brothers and sisters, I must answer you but simply. You have heard it said before that a rose known by any other name smells as sweet. The name of God I am, called by any other name, is just as sweet perhaps, but the power is in the name of God I am, and no one can take it away from that. Therefore, beloved ones, the path you should pursue, if you would have the highest manifestation of God, is the pathway that leads to your own beloved I am presence, to your own God perfection, your God image. When you hold the hands of your God image, this is not a human hand. And your God image, which declares I am here and I am there and I am everywhere, is able to guide you and lead you infallibly through every turbulence until you rest in such peace that you too will be ascended beings as I am. I would that I were able, by cosmic law, to more fully and specifically illumine some of you, and this I could do privately. But I must tell you that this particular discourse which I am giving to you tonight was given by a specific request of the cosmic law, and I do not prefer that those who are here shall refer to the fact that I came this night and spoke to you. I would prefer, if you will respect the word of an ascended being, that you keep this within your own heart, unless you know with absolute certainty that the individual to whom you shall release it is as trustworthy as you are. There is a reason for this, which I shall not now presently divulge. My coming is a privilege, and I hope you shall deem it so. There are so many of you here that I would like to give personal recognition to. I hope that you shall feel my love and the pull upon your heart, because there is a pull upon mine, and it is a pull of quite a magnificent joy. Precious children of the light, as you move forward through the streets of life and go on your own way about your own business, try to remember that it is your Father's business, that it is the business of your own I am presence that you are carrying out. Try to separate from your consciousness the difference between you as an individual and the presence. Oh, if mankind only realized this simple, subtle, sometimes moot point. Individuals like to say it is I that act. And when they are bad, like the little girl who was very, very horrid, then of course they prefer to think that it was the human. And when they are very good, they prefer to think that it was God. But beloved ones, whether the energy flowing through you is qualified with bad or good, it is God's energy. And it is your responsibility to govern that energy, to love that energy, and to qualify it only with perfection and beauty. The best way that you can accomplish this is to give the reins of God control to your own I am presence and say, Father, mighty I am presence, thou magnificent heart of light, thou who brought me into perfect manifestation, take the reins here. Guide, govern, direct, and control my way through the streets of life. God, give me thy perfection. God, give me thy protection. Mighty I am present. See that I make no mistakes here. See that I walk in absolute peace, purity, wisdom, and light into thy own arms. Receive me, Father, thou mighty I am presence, in thy own good time. into the arms of ascension's light, until thy beauty reigns supreme everywhere I am. If you will only do that, if you will only turn yourselves over consciously, relinquishing this mortal control which so often leads to difficulty, you will the sooner make your own ascension in the light. I cannot, no one can, ascended or unascended, take from you the will which you have, the freedom of choice. It is up to you. You may elect, if you will, to pursue your own separate ways. You may deny the plan of God, if you will. You may even turn your back upon the light, if you will. But if you will only rather turn to the light and face that light and the obedience of that light, you will find that light itself has its own reward, and that the reward of heaven is so far, far above that which mankind may imagine that eye has indeed not seen, nor ear heard, nor even entered into the heart of man, the things which the mighty I Am Presence has prepared for all you who love that presence, even as you love your life, for the presence is your life. I take my leave of you now with gratitude for the privilege of speaking to you. I give you my feeling of God obedience as the most wonderful gift that heaven has ever bestowed upon unascended or ascended mankind. To be obedient to your own presence is to know that the Lord is your shepherd and that you shall not want. To know that He shall lead you beside the still waters, that He shall restore your soul, that goodness and righteousness and life and truth shall follow you all the days of your life, and that those days shall be forever. I am enfolding you now in my arms of divine radiance and infinite cosmic compassion, praying that the blessing of all the hosts of heaven be upon each one of you and abide with you always in the light of my heart, in the light of infinity, in the light of the diamond heart of God, in remembrance of Mother Mary and the ladies of heaven, and in remembrance of the sacred fire of God. I am sealing you now, my friends of ages, my beloved ones, in His heart, in His flame, in His compassion. Peace be unto you. Thank you, and good evening. Magnificent souls, children of the infinite love of the Father, I come to you this night from the Chateau de Liberty to bring to your sense consciousness the reality of God's beauty and the infinite fire of his love. I am fired with divine compassion this night to extend the greetings of the great white brotherhood out into the world of form, that mankind may not only conceive of the infinite meaning of beauty, but that they may become swiftly breathing examples of living God beauty, spread abroad everywhere, because it is the intent of the All-Father, and it is the vision held within the all-seeing eye of God, whose eternal destiny is the progression of the universal consciousness in all worlds everywhere. As I look out upon the universal vision of the infinite cosmos, I behold in those flaming orbs a sense of divine majesty which moves me to exclaim in your midst, "Behold the wonders of God." And I urge that each and every one of you begin now to externalize the meaning of newness of life. How many of you arise from your beds in the morning with a sense of lethargy, of fatigue, and of a feeling that that day is a day which will be difficult? I ask you to throw out of your consciousness a sense of difficulty. Ladies and gentlemen, if you begin your day with a sense of the difficult, I do not see how you can end it with any other sense. But if you will begin it with a sense of infinite beauty, and will look out upon life with a thought that this day is God's, and that you will look upon life with a feeling that this is a day when I shall sense the beauty of God in life, that you will see there, as we who are artists and architects of the Spirit, a sense of the eternal beauty that moves the spirit of man to exclaim, "O God, you are so magnificent." Ladies and gentlemen, I address you thus, for thus you are in the eyes of Saint Germain, and in the eyes of those of that august fraternity known as the Great White Brotherhood. You have perhaps pondered the mystic idea of the Great White Brotherhood as some conception of the finite mind. Let me here and now remove from your consciousness such a misconception, and hasten to assure you that the infinite power of this august fraternity of spiritual beings, the spirits of just men made perfect, is to assist the great divine plan in being called forth from the heart of God and externalized among mankind. I served in the past, and I serve today with gratitude for the opportunity and privilege to love. To love is a privilege, never a duty. To love God is a privilege beyond all privileges, and to love mankind made in his image is the second commandment made like unto the first. Oh, I enfold you now with a sense of love, of divine love that reaches out to embrace the eternal concept, and to know that out of the flame of divine love is born divine beauty, and that in the sense of divine beauty is the ever newness of each day, of each hour, of each moment, fresh, perennial, and lovely beyond compare. Blessed ones, why is it that with the first blush mankind are able, upon beholding a friend, to sense the majesty and beauty of this friend, and then as time goes on and the friend becomes more known unto their consciousness, rather than become more magnificent, this individual becomes less magnificent, because the attention is placed not upon the great God self of that individual, but it is placed upon the ephemeral, the transitory, the human, and that side which is but a child in the hands of its cosmic mother, extending those tiny hands upward, looking hopefully to that cosmic mother to guide, to guard, to protect, to direct the footsteps of that tiny babe, until growing up in Christ consciousness, the babe shall become the man-child with all of the beauty of Christ's accomplishment. Ladies and gentlemen, love is the power that moves the world. Love is the power that frames the world. Love is the power that sustains the brotherhood. Love is the power that is the cohesive force throughout the universe, by which are born and through which is extended into the finite the grace of the infinite capacities of God. Is not love then to be adored? How many of you have thought of adoring love? Adoring love is to love love, and it is the very self-same nature of God to adore himself. This is not a divine narcissism. This is a case of God being the great giver and no receiver at all. For he has given to all life, and he has given to all beauty, and he gives to all his eternal compassion, to guide them and to guard their footsteps until they come to that place in life where they are masters of force, masters of energy, masters of divine power, and there is no power whatsoever in the world that can move them aside from following and pursuing the spiritual path all the way to their eternal victory. I would like to address to you a word at this time concerning the purity of your aura. As a divine artist now, although a well-known earthly artist in the past, I am ever so interested in utilizing those spiritual chemicalizations wherewith we are able to paint upon the canvas of eternal life a more beautiful soul. While I was embodied as Paolo Veronese, it was my passion and desire to externalize on canvas all of the fire of life. I desired to express the sunlight as though it were actually shining through the canvas. I desired to express in color and form that rhythm of the eternal movement of the Spirit, which I perceived as the inner culture of man. But these seem now, as I look upon them, but pitiful executions in charcoal or traceries upon the sand, for I now behold the beauty of God face to face, and beholding I am now completely, all-powerfully enamored with the vision which I see, and I want no other. When you enter a state of divine and cosmic achievement like unto my own, you will want no other vision. You will no longer want. You will know the meaning of that great passage uttered by David, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." You will understand how to contemplate the mysteries of God and to extract therefrom their full meaning, and your mentors will not be removed in a corner. They will abide with you by your side, and you will have the open sesame which brings to your consciousness the answer to every problem whatsoever. At the present time, it is necessary, because of the cosmic moment, for me to speak through this instrument, whose consciousness and lips I use in order to reach your hearts. The day will come indeed when that epoch shall pass. But when it passes, I pray God that man will have that same direct apprehension that this instrument has, the capacity to reach themselves into the great cosmic light and draw therefrom the consciousness of those of us who have won our victory, who have attained the pain and the suffering of human consciousness and have bypassed it and have mounted up into the God consciousness and the victory of immortality. Peace be unto you this cosmic hour and moment. Peace be unto you during the wakeful hours of the night, when your souls seem to be troubled by human thoughts. Peace be unto you at every hour, and a sense of God's beauty. If this sense shall become strong enough, it shall cause that nothing can resist the onrush of its cosmic perfection. And so you will have, by the enfolding softness of divine love, a cushion to assuage all human grief, a balm to wipe out all human fear. O beloved ones, the great white brotherhood now, beholding the perilous hours facing the mankind of earth, urge that as never before there shall be a unity of spirit among all of those who profess to serve the cause of the great brotherhood, a unity of hearts, a unity of your being with your own great God presence. This is so needful if you are to accomplish the fiat of the moment. God has sent forth the call to man. Will man answer it and raise their brother? Will they raise the fallen among mankind? Will they assist the brotherhood in doing the necessary and averting from the earth the pain of war and the discord which is now threatening the planetary body? I am so hopeful. The Mahachohan has raised his head and invoked this cosmic hope anew. We invoke it in your hearts tonight. We invoke it in the hearts of all mankind. It is not within our power to respond for you. This you must do for yourself. As I leave you now, I leave you not comfortless, but I leave you with a great cosmic Christ blessing from our sphere and octave, our light, our sense of the divine, and the peace which passeth all human understanding. Peace, cosmic Christ peace, be unto you all, from all at the Chateau de Liberty, from all who work with the sacred fire, from all who serve the cause of freedom, from the heart of Saint Germain, from beloved Jesus, from ascended Master Moriel, to those of you at Boston who have faithfully served this cause, we extend our personal hands in greeting. We thank those who have sponsored this place. You may think sometimes in moments of loneliness that your thoughts go unperceived by us. May I assure you that you are never alone. We are near and close as your hands and feet, and as your coming and outgoing breath. And we hope that you will hold this focus steadfast until, pushing out beyond these walls, you may expand this activity in a limitless way to assist the earth and its people in finding that freedom which God intends, which up to this point all the blessed religions of the world and the sincere people have not been successful in prosecuting for God, but which today, pinning our hopes on the hearts of the few, we are certain shall perform a mighty work for the freeing of the earth, its environs, its people, and every deva and builder of form, until the perfect archetype shall be manifest among mankind, and the new civilization that shall be born in South America shall become a reality fostered and nurtured by the great white brotherhood, until those sacred temples brought forth there, as in days of yore,
Oh, the fullness of the great enfolding love of God. How noble are individuals who open their consciousness to the true creative culture of the Spirit, the nobility, the righteousness, and the strength of their own God presence. Beloved ones, throughout the years we have flooded forth the ascended Master's knowledge of life and the perfection of life. Through the years we have flooded this planet with our strength and our love. But I bring to your attention, blessed ones, that that which we have flooded forth was first given to us. We first received from the arms of our own mighty I Am Presence the great sustaining strength and protection, which we then in turn flooded forth into the force field of light everywhere upon this planet in order to produce the beauty of those eternal spheres. Blessed ones, your bodies, which are temples of light, are temples of perfection, and it is not necessary that you should carry in your consciousness any state or condition which is less than the perfection of your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, comfortability is a gift of God. God desires you all to have the gift of eternal comfort. Your presence desires for you absolute perfection, and it is not necessary for you to accept any condition whatsoever that is less than the perfection of your presence. Time upon time again we have repeated to you words of a similar character, and we shall continue to breathe out and bless you with those constructive healing words which we originally brought forth simply because there are no other words that will produce the perfection except the great cups of light from your own I Am Presence. Therefore it is essential that we shall produce a similarity of character to the light itself and a quality of light made manifest. This we do twofold, in a manner, a dual manner. We do it through radiation, as we have told you before, and we do it through ascended Master words. A great deal of it is being absorbed by your inner bodies and consciousness, of which often you are totally unaware of in the outer sense consciousness. Much later, some of you come to realize that a great deal is being done for you at inner levels as we speak the great healing words which come forth from that great flood tide of light, your own cosmic perfection of your own beautiful, mighty I Am Presence. O thou wondrous I Am Presence, thou great bringer of life's perfection to this earth and the entire cosmos, we bless and we thank you for being. We give you our ascended Master gratitude for giving to us of the ascended host those great thoughts and ideologies which we are unable to transmit to mankind. We are grateful for the God illumination which enabled us to bring forth the great former golden ages upon this planet. And we are grateful that it is that same perfection which shall flood forth in this day and age and produce the same ascended Master age, the same ascended Master golden light perfection which this planet knew in former days. Blessed and beloved ones, nobility is a gift of God. God is your dignity. And when you open your consciousness to the flood tide of that eternal illumination flame from your heart of your presence, I tell you that that flame can do naught but produce perfection and sustain it. When you admit into your feeling world a condition which is not the ascended Master's, this is not the fault of your presence. This is not necessarily the fault of any individual. It may be the fact that you have permitted it to come in through the open door. Blessed ones, whenever you perceive the slightest irritation or distress entering your feeling world or your consciousness, or you become aware of a sense of fatigue, or any other condition which is less than light's perfection, immediately make the call to your presence and ask the mighty iron presence to take full dominion over your world and to produce its perfection there. I am certain, as we have told you in times past, and as you have expressed in manifestation, that when you make this call, it is just automatically answered and produces that God perfection for which you long. Blessed and beloved ones, seeing that you have but to make the call, and God answers even before the call is completed, what then is it that causes it not to appear to manifest? Is it not just a little pressure of resistance in your own feelings, which somehow or other tells you, oh, it is not just this easy? No, it cannot be this easy. Blessed and beloved ones, it is just that easy when you open your consciousness to God and are aware of the fact that His light is the only power that can act. But blessed ones, when you accept in your consciousness that these other conditions have greater power than the presence of God, then naturally you have given dominion to them and they act in place of the presence of God. Do you see, blessed ones, just what is taking place here? I tell you, the mind and consciousness of mankind is surrounded by a human effluvia, as you all know. Blessed ones, this human effluvia must be cut away from the consciousness of every sincere chela of the light. And until it is completely cut away, you can always expect some manifestation which is a trifle on the negative side. But it is not necessary that you permit that manifestation to endure, or that you give any credence to it or any power to it. Immediately when you become aware of its existence in your world, call immediately to your presence to transmute it, and I am certain that the presence will immediately flood its light into action, and that condition will be brought under God control. But you must keep aware that you must give the presence the dominion which the presence must have in order to act according to your instructions. If you telegraph to the presence that you are giving dominion to a condition of negation, and then you make a call, how can you expect the presence to answer you, blessed and beloved ones? For the presence must have an open path and channel into your heart, and you must therefore keep your mind, your heart, your world, and all of your affairs in divine harmony in order to tune in to the perfection which you really are. Oh, blessed ones, how often we have enfolded you with our radiance. How often we have flooded forth the perfection from our octave. Some of you have entered the force field of this sanctuary and other places of light. Some of you have entered there with a little fatigue in your physical bodies. Some of you have entered with a little weariness in your consciousness. Some of you have entered at different times with problems and troubles and turmoils which seem to terrify you temporarily. Blessed ones, when these conditions have occurred, we have blazed forth our light, and we have instantly erased these problems, and your spirits feel the buoyancy and the freedom of the eternal spheres. And you are happy, and you rejoice, and you go forth and you say, well, this was just a little thing, a turmoil of the mind and spirit, and I will not let this happen again. Blessed and beloved Saint Germain, see that this doesn't happen again. Seal me in your heart of fire. Stop this condition. Give it no more power. And you go forth with that determination in your consciousness, and then the condition happens again. Blessed ones, we too would remind you that there is an old saying that Rome was not built in a day, and so I tell you that your negation was not built in a day either, but it was built over a period of many lifetimes, and therefore it is essential that you hold on to the hands of your presence, do you see? For your presence is the only power that is able to actually cut you free from those conditions which you seek to escape from. It is the only perfection, the only power that there is that can act. and it is also the power of the violet flame. What do you think the violet fire is? It is the love and the mercy of God in action. The love and mercy of God qualified by his feeling from his own heart of forgiveness. And therefore I am so grateful that you have through the years had your violet fire groups and have called forth violet fire throughout the planet. I am certain mankind are not aware of the great service you have rendered to life. Many of them do not even dream that this group exists or others of a like nature, but I am certain that you are known to the hosts of heaven, to the hierarchy of heaven, and to those great ascended masters of light, and to the Darjeeling Council. Blessed and beloved ones, I now would like to speak to you a little concerning the Renaissance of the future. Blessed and beloved Moria and all of the hosts of heaven, our ascended masters, I would remind you that just as under the feudal systems of the past and under the systems of nobility such as England, France, and other countries of Europe once knew, there were noble men originally at these various courts, and the kings were selected from those God-illumined men who demonstrated an ability to lead their fellow men toward higher pathways. Blessed ones, therefore a court was established wherever there was a kingdom, and the gentlemen and ladies of the court conducted their affairs in such a manner as to bring glory and grace to the little kingdoms of the various countries of the world. There was in those days gone by now in most parts of the world a great deal of conviviality. In those days, at many of the court banquets, the name of God, I Am, was honored, not always in the same manner as you now honor it, but many times it was honored in substance because of the noblesse oblige, because of the great feeling of compassion which individuals of the court felt for one another. They knew in those days that all of their contemporaries and the individuals with whom they were associated were not perfect in the outer world of form, but they had that great ascended master tolerance in the kingdoms. And true courtesy and nobility was part of the court grace in those days. I would like to tell you that in the golden age that is to come, this feeling of God illumination must be revived among mankind, especially the chelas of the ascended host. You must learn to treat one another with reverence. After all, blessed ones, do you not all expect to be ascended masters? Now, if you expect this for yourself, you must allow it to all of those with whom you are associated. And therefore you must love one another in a very tangible way. And that is to express and to manifest a feeling of courtesy. You, after all, blessed ones, you are living in the kingdom of God. And if you are to be noble men and noble women under the court of God, you are expected to express that type of culture to the world. It does not matter now that in times past some of you have made mistakes. The future is before you, and the doorway to a future of perfection lies in a perfection made manifest in the ever-present now. Now is indeed, as beloved Hilarion once spoke, as St. Paul, the day of salvation. Now is the accepted time. It is in the present that you must touch the eternity of God. And in order to touch that eternity of God, you must open the doorway of your hearts to actually feel this great love for one another. After all, blessed ones, a few years ago, most of you were not even in physical form. And then you knocked and you sought to come into embodiment, and you asked the great karmic board to give you an opportunity. And you came, and now you behold a world which apparently expresses imperfection. But I tell you that the world from whence your life came is a world of God perfection. It is to that sphere of light that you belong, and it is to that sphere of light that you shall return. Inasmuch as light is perfection, I am, charging in the name of God, the mighty I Am Presence, the vibrations of cosmic light substance to your bodies. I am desirous tonight of removing all recalcitrant substance that I possibly can by cosmic law from every one of your consciousness. You have braved the elements this night. You have entered these doors in order to give honor to your own God presence. You desire to hallow this sanctuary by the presence of God within you, and you desire to be hallowed. Well, I am also here. I am here. I am here. I am here. And because you are here and I am here, therefore I think there is a meeting of cosmic beings. You may think otherwise. You may think this is just a meeting of you and I, and that you are mundane beings and that I am a cosmic being. But I tell you, as I see it, this is a meeting of cosmic beings. For all men upon earth came forth from God, the great cosmic heart of God in the great central sun. And therefore these temporary vestments which you now wear are like chaff before the wind. And just as chaff, these garments can be shed, and you can stand as pure spirits before the heart of God, sparks of the eternal infinite flame of eternity. Blessed ones, therefore, do you think then that you would be no longer wise? Do you think you would no longer have consciousness if your physical forms were removed from you? Blessed ones, God is unlimited, and because you belong to God and came forth from God, you shall return to that God who gave you life and consciousness. And therefore I salute you as cosmic beings. I salute you as cosmic beings in hope that you shall learn to dominate the human effluvia by the power of the presence of perfection within you. Oh, some individuals say, I have tried. Blessed ones, as I said before, we tried also. I can recall hours in my own previous existence before my ascension when I did not know where my next meal was coming from. I can recall hours when I bore great cold, when I bore pain and anguish, even for the cause of the light. But we flinched not. We moved forward. We were constant. And God, who sees, rewarded us by opening the floodgates of eternal life to us and endowing us with our own ascension. Beloved David Lloyd, one of your own people who was upon this planet also just a few short years ago, has a special momentum generated of gratitude to God for the gift of the ascension. And I am always grateful for momentums of individuals who make their ascension and then bring a special quality into the cosmic light which floods back and is reflected to the earth itself. I myself chose to externalize freedom. And because I chose to externalize freedom, I am ever so interested in an activity of freedom. Now this particular activity, the activity of your gathering together in this place, the activity of the Summit Lighthouse, The activity of all the activities of light is for the purpose of mankind's freedom. And it is the desire of the great karmic board and the great ascended beings this year to see a great expansion of cosmic light take place. It is overdue, and therefore we are relying upon the few who will anchor within their consciousness a focus of the freedom flame to see that no human individual who listens to the outpourings of human venom and human hate, but who in place of that will turn their attention to their God presence and will call for the transmutation of all hate upon this planet and all hate creations. Blessed ones, it is so essential that mankind be cut free that I again repeat in substance the request that was made at your recent class, that the violet flame activity be intensified and intensified and intensified. I do not care what individuals may think or feel concerning the power of the violet fire. I do not care if it may even be wearying to individuals in the hour. I tell you that mankind needs the power of the violet fire, and therefore they are going to have it. And if necessary, I myself will take on a body and will actually become visible. And I will make decrees if I have to go into a corner somewhere upon this planet and make those decrees myself. But I do not think that you will let us down. I do not feel that you who have loved us for so long and who love mankind will now turn away and be interested only in the mundane phases of existence. I am certain that you will hearken. That is, those of you who love the light will hearken. And you will be a part of our activity, of the light's activity, of God's activity, to help mankind who know not what they do. Blessed ones, in past ages, so much error upon this planet has been produced in ignorance. Now, ignorance is but an ignoring of the law which is always within the heart and speaks through the conscience of men. But those who, through inattention to the voice of their conscience, have become callous somewhat, do not always listen when the voice of conscience speaks, and therefore they tend to make errors and mistakes, you see, through ignoring the law. We are interested in an active conscience, but we are especially interested in the transmutation of all error. An active conscience will enable you to have a sense of discrimination concerning the acts which you do. The violet fire will cut you free from the momentums that you yourselves have created in past times. And I am certain that the Holy Spirit, coming out from the heart of the Lord the Mahachohan, will give you such a purity, such a radiance, such a consciousness of God, that beauty will begin to externalize in your life as never before. Blessed ones, in the days preceding the ascension of my beloved ascended Master, Lady Mother Mary, the beauty of her skin, the beauty of her physical form was almost beyond expression. From octaves of light, I observed as the Holy Spirit began to pour and pour and pour its beauty until her skin became translucent, and you could actually see the light coming through her physical form. Blessed ones, when the creations of hate and human discord are removed, the flame within the heart can shine through the physical form, and like parchment, the finger of God writes upon that individual's form, and mankind know that they are in contact with a sanctified being. This before the ascension. Would you see the Christ in manifestation, then be a Christ in manifestation. Would you have the golden age come forth? Would you behold the ascended masters? Would you like to see us manifest upon this platform, visible to the eyes of mankind? Then you manifest the Christ consciousness. You blaze the fire and the flame of perfection through your own physical forms. And I think when it shines through your own physical forms that you will have no difficulty in seeing us either. Ladies and gentlemen, may the violet fire from the very, very heart of God blaze and blaze and blaze through you and through this city and through this sports field and throughout this planet. And may the spirit of the great white brotherhood be the only acting power in the life of all mankind. America, America, rise to your freedom through this decade. Arise as never before. I, St. Germain, call for a revival of interest in all of the great uplifting activities of the light itself, so that mankind will not be asleep, but will be awake to the potentiality that is their own when they make it their own, by seizing the present moment as a gateway into our eternal octave. Blessed ones, would you be noble men? Would you be noble women? Would you be endowed with these cosmic gifts? Then accept them. They are yours for the taking. It is only a little touch, a fraction of an inch between that perfection and the perfection which I am. Do you realize that? It is just a fraction of an inch between our octave and yours. It is very narrow. And as you turn your attention to the light, you narrow that fraction of an inch till it becomes a microfraction, and eventually it is fragmented into nothingness and transmuted, and the veil is transcended, and the beauty of our octave is your own. And when you are swept into that great octave of light, and you see us in our great blazing light bodies, and you yourselves are wearing the same raiment, blessed and beloved ones, you will say, how in the world did I ever put up with that lump of clay and all of its misqualification? Why did I wait and tarry so long? Blessed and beloved ones, you will wonder then. But remember, we love you, and we are awaiting your coming. As we await the coming of all mankind, mankind will receive their victory. You will receive your victory as your love intensifies to the point where you no longer are concerned with aught except the will and perfection of your own presence. Then the light has the freedom, you see, to expand its radiance through your physical form, because there is no impediment. There is nothing that stands between. The veil is transmuted, and when the veil is transmuted, the light shines through. Oh, I bless you this night with the wondrous light of God. Men who have thought that because the beloved Godfrey made his ascension should stop the light from flooding through are mistaken. The beloved Godfrey and all those who have served the light as I did in past ages, even as one to bring the words and writings to the great ones, all of them are together blessing you. We are one, blessed and beloved ones. There is no impediment. Light itself belongs to all, and all belong to light, and all belong to life, and life belongs to all. It is that simple. But out of this simplicity is born a cosmos filled with a magnitude of wonder, much of which is unrevealed even to us. Therefore, eye has indeed not seen, ear has indeed not heard, and it has not yet entered into the heart of all men all the wonders of God. and they remain before you forever, to be unfolded one by one as a wondrous flower blossoming forth from the stem of life. Oh, the wonders that face you, blessed and beloved ones. Your great hopes are before you, but it is the present that is necessary. In other words, it is necessary in the present that you accept it. You cannot put it off to the future, or that future will not blossom for you. You must accept it in the present in order to be in the present future the light which I am. Oh, I thank you. I thank you for your devotion. I thank you for your courage. I thank you for the courage you shall summon. And the courage you shall summon shall take you first to the brow of the great mountain of your attainment, and then you shall plant your feet on the summit of victory, and you shall ascend even as I did. Peace be unto you. Thank you, and good night.
From my planetary home of light, I come to you this morning with all the God beauty of our lovely planet. O ladies of heaven and gentlemen of heaven, the beautiful children of Venus so long to see the lovely children of earth manifest the perfection which we have and which we would share with you this day and always. So much concern today goes out for the aged, and this is actually a gift of graciousness and love from the hearts of mankind. But I would turn your attention today as a great cosmic being to the youth of the world, and I would ask you ladies who feel so impelled to realize that a great cosmic need upon this planet is born in the sense that the youth of the world need guidance. They need this guidance so badly that I come this morning with a plea in the name of the infinite God, asking you both, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize the great need of the babies of earth, the children of earth, and the young people of earth, to have cosmic guidance and have greater wisdom made available to them than that which is actually provided in the schools of earth. I hope that some of you will take up my request, and in the days to come will devote a certain portion of your energy to trying to bring forth greater instruction and greater harmony for the youth of the world. Then I know, because God's law is love, the earth will have children as beautiful and fair as they who are the children of Venus. I ask you now to open your inner ears to me, for with me today 12 children from our planet have arrived. These 12 children are very lovely and gracious, and they are going to sing at inner levels to you and salute your holy Christ self as I finish speaking. Listen to their melody. They are truly cherubs of God, and they have all of the beauty which Michelangelo perhaps captured in part, but which you, by the rapture of your heart and your vision of fairness and loveliness, as lovely as a rose, can be able to capture today and retain forever. O earth, we of Venus salute you. We salute you with the fairness of light and light's perfection. We salute you from our great and magnificent buildings and architecture, from our shrines of the Spirit, from our heart's light, and from our love. Marriages, families, and affairs on earth ought to become more like that which is done here. For here, on this great planet of love which we call Venus or Hesper, all is beauty, graciousness, and love. I am so grateful that Earth, our sister planet, can, like us, someday wear those great robes of light's victory. We honor beloved Victory, who has so much love for the earth, and he sends greetings to you today as I speak to you, and desires that I transmit to you his great love. It is his intention on another occasion to speak to you in Canada and convey his love and light to you personally, even as I am doing. May God go with you, mothers of the world. May God bless you, fathers of the world, and all of you who are children of the one God. Be at peace. For not the peace of the world do we give unto you, but the peace of your own Christ consciousness, the peace which we have so long loved, shared, and bowed to. I thank you, and I bid you good afternoon. My friends of the cosmic light, thou lovers of freedom from every clime, I greet you today in a spirit of divine reverence and compassion, knowing that all life is good as it flows forth from the great fountainhead of Almighty God. I am sure that you will find easy an acceptance of freedom's holy light. The light and purity of freedom is the greatest boon to all the earth that has ever been in manifestation. For if it were not for the light of freedom, then no divine dignity would be possible. For freedom itself in expression is God. Many among mankind today seem to feel so secure in pursuing their own will. For many years they have been bent backwards, as it were, in doing the will of themselves without consideration of the will of God or the holy light of freedom. These individuals, my friends, I tell you truly, do not know what they are missing. To do the will of God, to take the dignity of freedom divine, and to love freedom and love the will of God is a sacred honor, an honor which men have often taken from themselves. Through ignorance it is true, but through wisdom they will once again be able to take and accept the scepter of their own dominion, and in heart gratitude move forward to their own God flame and their own Christ freedom in the light of God with all its unfailing reality. I am so grateful for your calmness this morning. I am grateful for the great spirit of Christ's calmness which actually dwells over this lovely assembly. Your heart flames blending as one are actually a bouquet which graces these tables, and I like therefore to think of you as children of God blooming in his celestial garden. I come to you today with great gratitude. Gratitude for the light of your heart, gratitude for your courage, for your staunchness, for your freedom from fear and doubt, and for your search for greater light. Today, in this assembly, there are those who have for many years served the light diligently. They have walked the high road of life's perfection. True, there has been a falling short of the mark, but that perhaps is not only true of them, but it was also true of those of us who are now ascended. Prior to our ascension, we too fell short in some measure of the mark. But when the hour came for our ascension in the light, we were elevated to the present station and our lovely advancement which we now wear. This shall come also to you. However, there are those in this assembly who have not pursued the higher road. There are seekers here also who desire to know the truth, and they too ought to be fed. Beloved Jesus said long ago, "Feed my sheep." Today it is my intention, if you will hear me and listen diligently with the ears behind your outer ears to my words, to give you some sustenance for your soul, that you may taste a little of our great momentum of God freedom in the eternal verities. Beloved ones, words are but cups. They are cups which we charge with our own ascended master consciousness. And as we charge these words with our ascended master consciousness, and you accept them into your own thinking and feeling world, you are actually partaking of the consecration of God, of the bread of heaven. You are eating of spiritual manna, and therefore the law declares that you cannot help but grow thereby and expand your life. It is true that if you give your devotion to me and your devotion to your own God presence, you will receive greater nourishment from the spiritual food which I am today setting before you, that you may taste the bread of heaven and therefore expand and grow. Beloved ones, this day is a day of beauty. Every day is a magnificent day which comes forth fresh from the hand of God. Every hour comes forth fresh from God's hand. With the energy that you draw from your own silver cord of ascended master light substance, from your own God presence I am, you qualify this energy, and you write each day upon the great eternal scroll of life, either energy qualified with life's perfection, or energy misqualified with life's imperfection. It is so much up to you what you will write and how the record shall read. I am sure most of you realize that light itself, if it were not tampered with, could produce nothing but beautiful flowers and beautiful manifestations of eternal perfection. Mankind, however, possessing the power and the quality of qualification, are able to qualify life with pictures and with manifestations which are far from the beauty of the virgin spirit of life which is within their hearts. I would like to pay allegiance at this moment to the great, magnificent threefold flame that is within every one of you and within all life. This threefold flame is the eternal pulsation of Almighty God. The blue plume of faith, power, and goodwill pulsates so rapidly, embodying all the great will of God. The yellow flame of illumination, the yellow plume, pulsates with all the eternal wisdom of God, the great cosmic Christ intelligence. And the pink flame, the pink plume, blooms within your heart and speaks to you of the great enfolding love of God. The perfect balance of these plumes is the fleur de lis, the great symbol which I myself use as a symbol of my activity. This symbol has been appropriated and used by France, for I worked for so long among the French people and have a great love for them. Nevertheless, beloved ones, it is a symbol which belongs to the ages. And so it is with every symbol which God has brought forth. These symbols belong to the ages, and they belong to every child of earth. The appropriation of symbolism, the appropriation of life, of intelligence, even of wealth by mankind, is carried on all over the world, and individuals often gather and call forth a certain quality or a momentum and say, "This is mine, because I have externalized it." The great cosmic law is always kept in perfect balance, and therefore mankind continue to pile up treasures for themselves upon earth. Many times the great cosmic law, swinging into balance, suddenly sweeps these treasures away, and individuals do not know why, when they have labored so diligently for material accomplishments, that these accomplishments seem to vanish and fade away from their very being. Beloved ones, the words of blessed Jesus, which he spoke, saying, "Lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven," are not trite words. They are words to live by. And these words can become words of eternal life to you. You perhaps remember the rich young ruler who came to Jesus and said, "Good master, what must I do to be saved?" The words of the master, "Sell all that thou hast and give to the poor and follow me," were not pleasing to his ears, for he would much rather have heard that he could use these riches in accordance with his own desires, that he might embellish the kingdom of God. I would call to the attention of all in this august assembly that while all wealth and all life flows forth from the present, it is a gift of God to all life, to all men. Naturally, some individuals do merit greater portions of an outpouring of the cosmic wealth in one embodiment or another. How they shall use this, how they shall use their life's energy, is what determines just exactly the state of their consciousness and their advancement in the Father's kingdom. Some individuals are inclined to think in terms of money and wealth. They do not realize that they have talents other than money, and that by these talents they are able to externalize every God gift of good happiness and spread it abroad among the children of men. Even in this group here, there are individuals who are talented with their hands in many ways. Some are talented with their voice. Some are talented in other ways with writing and with speaking. And in many ways, the use of these talents determines whether the Father shall expand these graces and gifts in your life. And therefore, in a very real sense, each one of you determines your own future. Speaking of the future, I would speak of love. Love, my heart friends, is a reality. Love is not just a word. You have heard it said that love is God. And it is so. As you love one another, you would never hurt one another, nor harm any part of life. You would spread virtue abroad, and courtesy, and nobility, and graciousness. You would not desire to tear down or to destroy one another, or to speak evil of one another, but you would look and search diligently that you might find the good in others. In this wise came the wise men of old to Bethlehem, seeking the young child, that they might see the Father's gift to the world. All mankind, if they will, can come to the manger of the hearts of everyone they meet, and there behold the Christ child manifesting in this threefold flame, the man-child which must expand its light and must grow until first there stands forth the young Christ ministering in the temple and speaking to the doctors. Then this Christ grows up and expands still further and becomes a full age, able to have all the powers of heaven. And eventually there stands in the place of the finite, appearing tiny flame, a great magnificent cosmic flame. And the cosmic Christ envelops the entire form and being of each individual. This is the man-child spoken of in Revelation, saying that he shall rule the nations with a rod of iron. Truly this is true, for the great cosmic man-child is the gift of God to everyone, and it is up to each one to expand their own immortal threefold flame by loving and adoring the God flame within them and expanding its attributes in perfect balance. Today I would call again your attention to the symbolism of the fleur de lis. This symbol is also used by the Boy Scouts, and it was I who at inner levels inspired this upon mankind, that they might teach the youth of the world, whom I love so much, a greater understanding of the outdoors and of freedom, that they might have greater harmony in their world's minds and affairs. All that we have done for freedom in the past has been accomplished through the power of the threefold flame, the power of the expanding Holy Christ intelligence in the hearts of men and above them, acting as a mediator between their own God presence and their outer appearance form. Beloved ones, I am expanding my light and radiance now in this place. I have called for and asked that a legion of angels be sent for, that these angels may carry in their arms many, many beautiful roses and flowers. I have asked that these flowers shall pass through the atmosphere and gently fall like rain around all of you that are here, that you may feel the great love of the cosmic Christ and of the divine intelligences that are here in the atmosphere this morning, desiring to pour out their love and their radiance through you. But I would call to mind that the flame of freedom is not only blazing this morning, but is blazing every morning of your life. Open your eyes that you may see. Open your ears that you may hear. Open your hearts that you may feel and know the reality of the ascended Master. Some feel that the term the Darjeeling Council and these other terms of the Great White Brotherhood are merely the creation of men's minds or some curious thing. I tell you, beloved ones, these conditions are spiritual, and they come from the highest sources and the highest intelligences in the universe. They come to bear the rainbow rays of God's eternal love for man, and they shall never pass away, because every child of earth who will open his heart and consciousness to them shall be benefited thereby even as all nature is benefited by the radiant light of the sun. Beloved ones, the Great White Brotherhood is a magnificent organization, yet mankind often, through lack of understanding, have apparently cheapened the term in the sense that individuals say, I am a member of the Great White Brotherhood. Do they know that those who are members of the Great White Brotherhood are not inclined to speak of it? Do they know that those that are truly members of it are spiritual beings, elevated and raised through the pathway of divine initiations, whereby their love is expanded to be like a cosmic being even before their ascension? Do they know the meaning of the Great White Brotherhood? Beloved ones, there are the 7 rays operating on this planet. There is the blue ray, the yellow ray, the pink ray, the white ray, the green ray, the ruby and gold ray, and the violet ray, all of these. But I ask you, dear heart, if you blend them together with the high speed of our electronic presence, does it not manifest as a white cosmic light? This is the light of God that never fails. Remember, blessed heart, that light is eternal, and you are all parts of God. When you blend yourselves together, and the various rays expressed at the higher level of the Great White Brotherhood, there is a blending of the cosmic Christ light, and beauty and perfection is produced, and harmony can no longer be sustained. Inharmony can no longer be sustained. Beloved ones, accept now our great outpouring of love, our love divine, which excels all the love of earth and all the feelings that mankind may generate in their human emotions. To love God and to love the ascended host can only draw to you our radiance. And as our radiance pours through you and into your hearts and consciousness, it will bring you strength to help fight the battles of the future, that you may be able to overcome as we ourselves have done. Beloved ones, I can look back now in my embodiment before I wore the robes of freedom as I now wear. I can recall some of the moments of frustration which we passed through. I can recall so well various times when I did not even know where my next meal was coming from. I did not know how I could possibly go on, or how I could possibly draw forth enough energy to even walk another step across the plains of earth. And yet it was accomplished. It was accomplished because we kept our faith anchored in the present. I want to say to you this morning another thing concerning your own God presence. Many people are enamored with the idea of ascended beings. They realize that we diligently serve the light, but they are taken up with the idea of curiosity, as it were, about ascended beings. There is a sort of a romanticism concerning and connected with this idea of great ascended masters with great cosmic powers. And therefore individuals are a little bit inclined sometimes to seek these things out because they are overly curious. Beloved ones, I want to call your attention to the great need to draw forth from your own God presence all of the attributes which we have. When you turn your attention upon us, you are receiving our love and our ascended master radiance, it is true, and you are able to anchor a great deal of benefit in your world and affairs. But when you turn your attention on your own God presence, you are drawing forth from the source of your life and qualifying eternally with divine virtue which no man can ever take from you. This is your crown. Beloved ones, therefore turn to your own God presence and pay it allegiance first and foremost, above all. Then it is well, after having paid allegiance to your own God presence, to turn to us. And through the presence you are connected with bands of light rays with us, and are able therefore to derive greater benefit by far from your own presence, because you have called to us, and because you have called first to your presence. Your presence is a great cosmic reality. It is a sun of divine wisdom, a fountainhead of goodwill, a great powerhouse of love, It has within it all the capacities of bestowing upon you all the graces and graciousness of heaven, the courtesy and the love of God. Have you ever wondered why when Jesus walked upon earth he referred so often to the Father's kingdom? Do you know that you were all born to royalty? Every one of you? Do you know that this is the desire of God, to bestow upon you the power of the eternal King? You are all to be princes and princesses of light. You were not intended, dear heart, to actually be servants. You were intended to be kings and queens in the kingdom of God. And that is why we have stressed courtesy, because courtesy comes from the word court, the court of the Father. And I, as a great God-free ascended being possessed with divine dignity, would have you externalize those qualities of graciousness which we love, that you might be more ready for the Father's kingdom and more ready for your own ascension in the light. Beloved ones, I ask you now to envision a great Maltese cross of purple fire over the city of London. I ask each one of you to realize that I am standing directly in the center of this great Maltese cross. It is 1,000 feet in diameter at the center, and the streams of light which pour out north, east, west, and south are violet fires pouring out to all the earth to envelop it in the flame of cosmic freedom. I am not content to merely come here and address a few of you this day, as much as I love you, without performing a service for the world. And I know this brings joy to you. For in this place today, I see hearts that are beating high with hope for the world. They long so much, just as Jesus did, to gather the world together and actually wrap the world in swaddling garments of its own divinity. They long to remove the thorns of life from the consciousness of everyone upon the planet. They would abolish all insane asylums. They would abolish even old folks' homes and produce in their place great, magnificent centers of beauty where individuals could worship and love without fear of either old age or approaching death. Beloved ones, individuals would remove all the pain of accident, illness, and lack from the consciousness of mankind. Oh, beloved ones, just you who are here today, your love is so great that if it could actually be brought into perfect manifestation, it alone could perform a great service for life to set all life free. Consider therefore the many groups throughout the world, how they are calling for the violet fire of freedom's love. Consider how we desire to unite them all in the bands of the great white brotherhood. Consider therefore this great Maltese cross of fire which I am blazing forth as a beginning of a new era in our activity. Remember, beloved ones, there is nothing new under the sun, but each day is fresh from God's hand. And as each day comes forth, a new era is born. And so today, a new era is born even here in the city of London. And virtue shall have its own reward. And as mercy dropping like gentle rain from heaven upon the earth beneath, so shall we expand this great Maltese cross until it shall never pass away. I, Saint Germain, say to you that as long as there is an individual in Canada who will pour out their love to this Maltese cross which we have created over the city of London today, then that Maltese cross shall remain in the atmosphere, performing its work and service for the entire earth. Therefore, it is up to you, blessed heart. Shall you externalize and keep alive by feeding your love into it, or shall you permit it to return to the ethers from whence it came? All tests are thus. Will you take your life, which God has given to you, and will you use it, or will you bury your talents in a napkin and believe that perhaps in another embodiment God shall provide you further opportunity? I think not. I think those of you who will stop and think about it long enough and call for perfect balance in your wisdom, mind, affairs, and feelings will realize that you owe it to your own God presence for all that your presence has given to you and will give to you. For all the love of the Father's kingdom, you owe it to God, to your own God presence, to give greater and greater diligence to it and call forth its momentum, so that you can say in truth and verity with beloved Jesus, it is not I that do the work, but it is the Father in me. Beloved ones, so often individuals seem to feel that they cannot perform a certain cosmic function. This is because they are relying upon the strong arms of their flesh. If they will rely upon the strong arms of their presence and will call to God and say, Almighty God presence I am, you take command here, you take direction, you take God control, you perform this function, you set me free, you give me my victory, you give me my ascension, then I am sure that the same God presence which ascended my own life stream from the planet and ascended beloved Moria and others of the ascended host and beloved Mary, the mother of Jesus, and other holy women will also function and by cosmic law will cause you to ascend into your own God-given divinity. The flame of cosmic freedom is a reality. It is not an ephemeral, transient thing. It is not a fog upon the window or a mirror. It is light. It is God. It is beauty. It is the architecture of heaven. Beloved ones, who is it that makes the angels? Who makes these ministering flames of fire and blazes them through the atmosphere to charge the feelings of mankind with harmony and with love? Who brings forth the spirit of music? Who brings forth the beautiful flowers in the gardens and brings forth the grass and the leaves upon the trees? Who brings forth the great surging rolling waves of the sea? Who brings forth a blue canopy to cover the whole hemisphere around with love? Who sends forth the archangels throughout the earth and to perform their great service? Who creates the seven mighty Elohim and therefore sustains the planets? Who has created the entire planetary chain? Who has created the universe? Who is it? It is I am. And I am is being. I am is intelligence. I am is consciousness. I am is bliss. I am is love. I am is all that you are and ever shall be. No matter how much you shall advance or how much progress you shall make even after your ascension, it will still be in the light of the I am. For only in consciousness, only in a knowing that you are you and a quality of reality shall you be able to find happiness. Beloved ones, in the consciousness of some individuals here, there are ideas about separation. Some individuals say, well, God created me. He endowed me with consciousness, but what is this consciousness that I have? Beloved ones, this consciousness is loaned to you. It is borrowed to you. It is given to you from God. It is your own if you appropriate it and use it well. If not, what happens to it? Beloved ones, ask yourself this question. Only that which is done for God can last, for that which is done for self passes away like the mist upon the glass. Therefore, beloved ones, your life which you use is different, it is true. For like snowflakes, you have a different electronic pattern. Mine is the Maltese cross. Some of you have a pattern of a rose, some of a lily, and various other geometrical patterns. But all of you are children of the infinite Father. Therefore, externalize your God pattern. Externalize your God perfection. Walk the earth today with dignity and with honor, as Jesus did, and as others of the ascended host. Feel our proximity and our reality. Our proximity and reality are tangible things. Some of you have called long for us to step through the veil and actually physically manifest. I am actually sitting between these two souls today. Do you realize that? Do you realize that my blazing light rays are pouring out into this entire assembly? Let no one doubt me, for I am a cosmic being. Many of you have read my Shakespearean plays. You have realized the great cosmic wisdom embodied therein. Some of you have read perhaps Novus Organum, which I wrote as Francis Bacon. I say to you, children of the light, every life stream has a plan to carry out, and they can carry it out if they will give their allegiance to God. Beloved ones, the quality of God is love. Supremely speaking, that is the one quality that is greatest. It is paramount. It is the outpouring of the essence of life. It is the cosmic flame. It envelops individuals in its light. And as it envelops them in its light, beauty is born. For from love comes beauty. And therefore, as I take my leave of you today, I have a little treat in store for you. A pathway of fire has been formed while I am speaking between Earth and the planet Venus. And down that pathway of fire comes the lovely Lady Venus, for whom the planet was named. She shall say a few words to you today in honor of the lady's presence. And therefore, I thank our gracious hostess here, Mrs. Nash, and I thank all the ladies who have assisted in serving this breakfast this day. And I thank those who have, at great price perhaps, traveled many miles to be here. I thank them for their presence. Rejoice in your own God presence, for we all are one. Remember this: no matter how different we may seem to be, we are really one, broken from one loaf, and there are no crumbs left over. This is the Holy Eucharist, the communion of saints, the light that can never fail. I thank you, and I bless you, and I bid you adieu.